The more I struggle and fight, trying to get it all right, I push away the very thing I want, thinking it's all up to me, deciding how it will be, forgetting that I'm guided by the one. So I forgive myself over again, 'cause I'm doing the best I can. And there are no mistakes, I learn every day, and the universe is showing me the way.
Share a personal experience I had a few days ago, being shunned by a child and his father, and how I reacted and how it made me feel, and also what I found out after researching into it. As most of you know, my husband and I were raised as Jehovah's Witnesses, and about 7 months ago my husband lovingly but not so gently woke me up to all the lies and deception that we had been living under all these years in the Watchtower Corporation. And so we left with all 5 of our children and a huge chunk of our extended family. We were disfellowshipped for apostasy and have been dealing with the aftermath of starting a new life and belief system from scratch. But mainly we're enjoying our newfound freedom and developing closer relationships with a lot of our family that the organization had stifled all these years. Sorry about the noise. When it comes to shunning, I realize it's mainly about self-preservation. Most witnesses don't want to do it. It makes them extremely sad and makes them very uncomfortable as well. But in order to survive the God that they worship, aka the governing body, and the upcoming Great Tribulation and Armageddon, they have to. They're forced to. So they go against their conscience and their love for fellow humans to preserve their own lives. So most of the time I try not to get angry with them, but personally, but in this instance I did. So what happened was, me and my 2 daughters, Caitlin and Gabby, we were walking through the store, and Caitlin was pretty much doing the shopping. She needed to get some things for her lunch during school, and so we were just kind of relaxing, not really too stressed into the shopping. And she turned the corner to the bread and peanut butter aisle, and I spotted the young kid who, him and his family belong to the Spanish congregation here in our town, and he turned around and he saw us coming, and he started to smile at me, and then all of a sudden he just freezes. So he was like this, and his whole body just froze, and he turned his back to us, and his father was pretty much oblivious to what was going on, and I wasn't really looking at him directly. After I saw that he did that, I felt really bad, and Caitlin was oblivious to what was going on too. She was more concerned with her peanut butter. And then I noticed that his dad spotted us. I noticed him out of the corner of my eye, and then he grabs his phone out of his pocket and starts pretending to talk on it and just kind of tapping his son, and they slowly turn and start walking the other way down the aisle. And we were probably only like 2 feet away from him, so it was completely obvious what they were doing. And I was just really upset. We kept grocery shopping. I wasn't really talking to Caitlin about what was going on, and then I kept spotting them throughout the store. But I really had stopped focusing on shopping and just started to get more and more angry. And then I thought, you know, I'm gonna take this opportunity, because I've come across him before. He does work for our neighbors that are working on their house that are going to be moving in. A family from the Spanish congregation bought the property next door, so he's been over there, but we haven't said anything to him, and he hasn't said anything to us. But a little background on our relationship with him is that he's come over to our house many, many times. He's helped my husband do a lot of remodeling around our house, and I always made him breakfast, lunch, dinner. Whenever he was here, I always made sure he was fed, made sure he had water, coffee, whatever he wanted. And it was fine. Like, I wanted him to not have to worry about anything else while he was here doing work. And then, of course, my husband always paid him, and my son always helped him with the work too, so it's not like he was doing work on his own. So he's been over here many, many times, and he never, after we left, never came and asked anything or called my husband and said, hey, what's going on? Because, we've been good friends with him and always talked to him about different things going on in the society, and, it wasn't, we felt like we were pretty close to him, that he should have been one of the ones that should have come and asked us, once he heard that it was announced that we were, had left the organization. So he never did. But anyway, I've been waiting for an opportunity to maybe talk to him or say something, because it's been pretty obvious that he's been shunning us the few times he's been over at the house. So I'm walking through the store and I'm getting more and more upset, and decided that I was just gonna go and confront him in the store, which I never do. I've talked to a lot of different witnesses in the store right after we left, to just kind of hurry and tell them what had happened, because it hadn't been announced yet that we were apostates. So I just grabbed my purse and started walking, left Caitlin, didn't even say anything. I was just like, I'm gonna go hunt him down. And he was back in the bread aisle, I guess getting what he had left when we were there. So there were several people around, and I just walked over to him and told him, like, I said, I don't understand how you can do what you just did and not even come to our house, not even ask us anything as to what happened. And so you've sat at my table, you know who we are, you know that we love Jehovah. I use the word Jehovah because that's, his way of thinking, but I don't use that name anymore. But I told him, I'm like, you know us, and we haven't done anything to deserve this kind of treatment. I don't understand how you can just go and treat us like this and not ask us what's going on. And he was really nice, and he actually stayed there and was listening. His son was looking at me. Gabby had followed me, so she was standing right there. Caitlin hadn't quite caught up with me yet, because I just took off so fast. And I was actually really surprised at how respectful he was, and he was asking questions. I didn't want to give him too much information, just because him and I have a little bit difficult time communicating. That's why I wasn't going to give him any details about anything that's going on. So all I told him was that Caitlin and I had been disfellowshipped without even talking to any of the elders. I told him we were not sinning against Jehovah, we were not doing anything wrong, that all we were doing was sticking up for what was right, and we had talked to a few people in the Kingdom Hall about the things that we had seen with the Australian Royal Commission, and they wanted to shut us down, which is exactly what happened. Within, I know me and my husband will be talking about this in our Waking Up Part 2 video that we haven't finished yet, but I kind of mentioned some things to him about what had taken place, and the main question he asked me like 2 or 3 times was, well, are you guys going to come back to meetings? And I said, no, not unless they fix the problems that they've made, which will be never, so we'll never go back. But I was really surprised at how respectful he was in listening, after shunning. But I was still really upset at what had happened, and how his son looked at me so scared. So as a mother, I never imagined that I could be part of something that would frighten my children and teach them to treat others in an inhumane way. But seeing this young one act so scared like that, it made me realize the gravity of what the Watchtower organization goes to, or what lengths they go to in leading parents to manipulate and brainwash their children, to be frightened for their lives when coming across people who no longer believe their version of the truth. They make whistleblowers into mentally diseased, satanic, devil-worshipping people, and that's what he looked at me like, and it just made me so sad. So I decided to go on their website and look at some of the things that are directed at children. Before we woke up, there were some things that we were finding questionable that they would that they thought that they could teach our children, or were just subjecting them to at the meetings and at the conventions and things. Like the Caleb and Sophia video where they're trying to teach them what's wrong with homosexuality, and the things that they were bringing out on the broadcasting and the conventions. Some of the videos that they were playing at the convention a couple years ago, our last convention, the videos we were just really surprised at, and at this year, after seeing the videos that John Cedars had posted, they had gotten worse from the previous year, so that was really sad. But it was getting ridiculous. Even some of the Bible readings that they were giving our two young sons to read, that they were just extremely inappropriate. But if on the website and the children's section, you can see the overall theme of the indoctrination. I'm going to try to post some of these up while I'm talking, but if you go to the section, the illustrated Bible stories, some of the titles, well, and it's not that these stories in themselves, there's anything wrong with the stories. They are in the Bible. So it's not that I'm saying that there's anything wrong with them, it's the way that they're using the stories to push the children into a life of submission to the organization, and they're using them very manipulatively. So some of them are Korah rebels. I was looking at the page and it looks very frightening. The scenes in it are very frightening. Adam and Eve become selfish. Rahab follows instructions, of course, because, you know, they want to teach kids from a young age to follow the directions of the organizations, which we all know we've all done since childhood if you've been raised as a witness. The Israelites make a golden calf. You know what happened to them. A lot of them were swallowed up by the earth and died. Lot and his family. Lot's wife wasn't submissive. She looked behind and she turned into a pillar of salt. And then there was a paper activity that test your alarm system. I'm going to look back into that one because there was something in it that said, let's play a game, and it really disturbed me. Then there was a video, Protect Your Children. It said, some people want to do bad things to you. So there's, like, talking to your kids. Yes, it's important to talk to your kids and teach them, you know, a lot of people are stranger danger. You know, there's things, teaching your children about things like that is okay, but it's the way that they're doing it and the way they're being manipulative.
But some people want to do bad things to you. What if someone tells you something that makes you feel uncomfortable or scares you? What do you do?
I'm not sure, but that's weird. Stop! What if they ask you to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable?
What if they try to touch you where they shouldn't?
Even if it's an adult you know and trust, you should say no and run away.
The world can be a scary place, but your mom and dad who love you.
And then I especially, one of the things that's always bothered me in the society, this video was the one where Sophia goes to school and she doesn't speak out the first time. It's called Jehovah Will Help You Be Bold. So Sophia didn't speak out right the first time. So then she goes home and her mother has a talk with her. I can't remember all the details of the video, but then she goes back to school the next day or whenever, and then she speaks up with boldness. And I just remember as a child having that feeling of, if I don't speak out, I'm gonna feel terrible. I always felt guilty if I missed a situation to talk to somebody or have a Bible study or whatever. I don't know. But Sophia, you know, felt like junk in that, and I really could see how sometimes as witnesses we developed low self-esteem because of things like that. If we weren't good enough, or we weren't preaching enough, or we didn't have enough Bible studies. I really felt appreciative at first when they first started taking an interest in the kids, but now I know they were just doing it because so many kids have been leaving the organization, and probably because the parents weren't doing a good enough job indoctrinating their children. So they had to change their tactics, and so that's why there's so much information now on the website and why they're targeting the children the way they do now in the organization. So while I was looking at all that, I remembered a story from when I was a kid that really scared me, and it always stuck with me. And even as an adult, but anyway, I was really surprised to find this out. I just remember the story. I couldn't remember who it was or why it happened, and I'm sure if you want to read it, the whole text yourself, that's fine. But I'm not going to bombard you with the reason for it. But it's in Numbers 25:8. And this Bible says it different. It says, "And he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel." So here it says thrust both of them through the body. So in the New World Translation, it uses the word piercing the woman through her genitals. And I just remember that was something that frightened me as a child because you know, in the scripture they were doing bad and evil and whatever, and it was something that really scared me. So I decided to look, for some reason it just kind of hit me that I needed to look and see what other translations said about the scripture. So I went online and I looked at 42 different versions of the Bible, and only 2 of them, and one including the New World Translation and one from 1899 or the late 1800s, used the description genitals in the scripture. The rest of them, 22 versions, use the word belly, 12 of them use the word body, 8 use the word stomach, 3 of them just said both of them, 2 said abdomen, 1 said private parts, 1 said 2 of them, and 1 said places of engendering. And then, so it was just the 2 Bibles that use the word genitals. But it's the way that the New World Translation uses the word. It actually distinguishes between the man and the woman, and it says it just pierced the woman. So it made a distinction where it separated them and made it seem like it was just the woman getting pierced. And in all the other Bible versions, it always kept the man and the woman together. But it just made me realize, like, how much the society targets women specifically, and dehumanizes a woman. It just is, it's been, I know that there are a lot of videos out there that XJWs have made about how the society treats women and makes them feel, and I didn't want to get into that subject in this video, but I was really surprised to come across this. I was always so scared as a young one to ever commit fornication because Jehovah was capable of having me stabbed. It's just, it's really sad for a child or a teenager or even an adult to be worried they're gonna get stabbed through the genitals as a woman. It's really sad. So when this shunning happened to me at the store, it just kind of struck a chord with me differently. I'm shunned almost on a daily basis. Whenever I go to the store or the post office, anywhere, I'm shunned. I'm even shunned at my job. There's one of the elders that disfellowshipped me, who signed the letter. Him and his wife come in there as patients. And then a couple other patients that are from the Spanish congregation, they come in there. So I'm shunned all the time. So it's not something I'm scared of. It just really upset me that I would be scary to a child, because as a mother I've always been nurturing and I love kids. So it was just something that was really upsetting. And then when I got home I couldn't stop crying because I was so upset, and it's not something that I've really done. I've probably only had, a couple of good cries since leaving, and I don't know. So I thought about, after all this happened, what a friend of ours in the XJW community, Michael Luray, I know a lot of you have seen his videos, and I would definitely recommend watching his videos. His channel is called Ultimate Mordecai, and I'll put the link in the description box. But one of the things that he does sometimes in his videos, if he doesn't know what scripture he's looking for or what he wants to learn about specifically, he just kind of he'll pray and just flip through the Bible, and it'll be just what he needs. And I was feeling pretty down and thought, I'll just do what he does. And because since we've left, I've been living with a lot of confusion because of the foundation as a believer has been rocked, and I really didn't know what I was feeling, why I was feeling that way, and I didn't really know what I needed. So I just flipped and I came to the scripture in Psalms. So it's Psalms 142, 1 through 7. It says, I cry out to the Lord with my voice. With my voice to the Lord I make my supplication. I pour out my complaint before him. I declare before him my trouble. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then you knew my path. In the way in which I walk, they have secretly set a snare for me. Look on my right hand and see, for there is no one who acknowledges me. Refuge has failed me, no one cares for my soul. I cried out to you, O Lord. I said, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Attend to my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are stronger than I. Bring my souls out of prison, that I may praise your name. The righteous shall surround me, for you shall deal bountifully with me. So I just want to share the scripture because it really encouraged me. There's been a lot of great things that have happened since we left, and I know that there's going to be a lot more. Our family is so appreciative of all the kindness that a lot of people have shown us and all the positive feedback that we've gotten. I also especially wanted to thank Christine, aka Bridget Azaz. I'll put her link in the description box as well. but she's really helped me in having the courage to speak out with boldness in public, which I never do, which I never did as a witness either. I would informal witness with people that I knew, but never, you know, in a public or group setting. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and you all have a great day. Thank you.
It's not my job to fix you, make you happy, feel complete. No, that is yours alone to handle, and the same thing goes for me. And all of our stories, can we agree to let them go? Leave all that isn't serving our expansion and growth. Maybe remember, let us never forget that we can only meet each other as deep as we met ourselves.